The party has just returned from the Knoll stronghold off to the west, and it is now 11 a.m. in the town of Nashkel. And at this point, they see that dust cloud forming off in the distance, and 40 armed soldiers coming from the south start entering into Nashkel. And as they approach, the party decides that, okay, they're not going to get in the middle of this. They're going to go off to the side of the road and just let them pass. And as they're starting to pass, the 10 soldiers from that makeshift garrison in town actually start to come out as well and join the main column of soldiers. So they start to head to the northwest of town. There's a small bridge that goes across a small river, like a small river, and so they get across that bridge and they start to make camp over there. So the party takes note of this. They're really worried and not really sure what's going about to go down, or why all these soldiers are just showing up all of a sudden. But so they take note of this, but they decide, okay, well, let's go check out the mines. Let's finish up with that, and we'll worry about this later. So they head off. The Nashkel mines are actually off to the southeast of town. It's about an hour distance walking wise. And so they head off. And so they get to the mines and they start to head down. And as they reach the base of the stairway inside the mines, it's pretty dark down there. And they can either go, as they reach the entrance, they can either go, there's a doorway in front of them, and there's also a doorway to the left. And I want to say, at first the three of them decide to go into the doorway in front of them. And they come out into this room with a bunch of mining equipment and some more crates and boxes filled with some ore and whatnot. And also in this room, there's also a door that kind of veers off to the right as well. So Diva decides she's gonna go through that door, while Taveri and Rowan actually head back and go to the opposite door. So I'll go with Rowan and Taveri right now. They enter that other door, and same kind of setup, more mining equipment in this room. They actually notice some crates off to the side that they want to investigate. So they investigate these crates, and what they find is some iron ore, but the ore itself on real close inspection is terrible. The properties, when in contact with one another, it just kind of, I guess the best way to describe it, it just kind of falls apart really easily. So they're kind of taking a look at that, and Devia, she goes through that other door. It comes out to a hallway. There's a passage in front of her and kind of veers off to the right, and then the hallway keeps going down off to the left. I know I'm going to be saying a lot of directions in this video, but anyways. So Devia decides she's going to go to the passage right in front of her. And like I said, it veers off to the right, and it leads into this back room. And as she enters this back room, there's a bedroll to the right on the ground. There's some a small kind of makeshift campfire, per se, in one of the corners of the room. There's some chests in here. Some of it's filled with just personal belongings, some clothes. It's in this room that Devi actually finds some more gold and about 600 worth, and a potion of greater healing. And there's one other thing she also finds that's pretty interesting, and that is there's a letter. And the letter says this: after being discovered recently, I've done as Tazok requested. We have sent any miners to his camp to be processed. Thankfully, any miners that did escape only saw my kobolds. They'll think it's just a simple monster invasion. Still, we must be on alert for anyone looking to clear out the mine. Hopefully we can keep this operation going long enough to accomplish our goal. I expect to be well paid for my services. So Devi immediately takes this note and starts to head back. We cut back to Taveri and Rowan. They're still checking out this room. There's one more door to the south side of this room that they were thinking about going through. Um, and at this point, Devia comes back to them, says there's another passage down the other way that keeps going. So Rowan decides she's going to head off with Devia. So the two of them go back, circle around to that passageway, and as they get to the end, there's kind of like a broken up wall that has a little bit of room where it's just enough that Rowan can actually fit through. And off to their left, the passage just keeps going down. So Rowan decides that she's gonna see what's on the other side of this wall, try to see if she can fit through this. So she does successfully. On the other side is basically just more, another mining corridor that it either goes left or right. So at first she decides to go right, and as it curves around, it leads to some stairs. And as she looks down, the stairway leads down, further down, and it's just darkness. That's all she sees down there. So she starts to go the other way, and as she does, she notices that there's a group of kobolds just down the hallway. About 3 of them. So she kind of basically goes back to where the opening is, tells Devia this. Devia starts to head down the hallway, her hallway, and notices the kobolds as well. So they're thinking about devising a plan of trying to get a sneak attack on them. So Rowan goes back to down her hallway, and it's at this point Taveri was thinking, well, I'm just going to check out what's on the other side of this doorway. And as she goes to open the door, a trap goes off. And she successfully gets out of the way of the trap, but the trap makes so much noise that it alerts the kobolds. And what's the best part about this is that on the other side of this door was those same kobolds. So there's really, now at this point, if you can just imagine, 3 different passages kind of converging on this one spot. So as that goes off, all 3 kobolds kind of turn to face her and start engaging her. Devia starts coming from the north and loads up her bow and shoots off a couple of arrows. Rowan starts coming from the southwest and starts kind of circling around to flank them. So the party is just kind of having this 3-prong kind of attack going on, and the battle ensues, and the party takes 2 of the kobolds out. And they kill them, and there's 1 kobold left. So it's at this point the 3 of them kind of tie up this 1 kobold and start to interrogate it. They want to know, where is his master, because Devia found that letter. They know someone else is down here. So the kobold quickly says that, his master, the one leading them, his name's Mullahay. And Mullahay is on the lower floor, down below in the lower sections of the mine. And so after converging with this kobold son, they also find out the kobold's name is Zeke. And Zeke's pretty much kind of, you could say, kind of a coward. So he's trying to give as much away as he can, fearing for his life. And so Taveri and Rowan, at this point, they want to just go down, check out the lower parts of the mine. So they're going to leave Zeke here, and Rowan's going to show where, did I say Devia or Taveri? I meant Rowan and Taveri are going to go to where the lower parts of the mine are. And Devia at this point, as they're leaving, she keeps watching Zeke. She's not real sure what to do with him, but at one point, Devia thought Zeke was trying to get out of his bindings and kind of get up against that wall the wall he's kind of has his back to, and she thought he was about to try something, like attack her or something. So she wasn't going to take any chances. She decides to get out an arrow, aim it, and shoot it at Zeke. So it hits Zeke. He goes up against the wall and slumps over. So after this, Devia decides to join the rest of the group, and as they proceed further down into the mines. So they get to the lower section of the mines, and it's still pretty dark down there, obviously. But picture as they keep going down, more foliage and plant life kind of starts entering the like on the sides of the walls and everything. So as they get down there, there's roughly 2 passageways they can go to. They can either go to the right or go to the left. And at first they decide to go to the right. And just down the cave corridor is comes to about a couple of boxes down there. And they start going through these boxes and crates and find out that as they open them up, it's actually more that black slime, similar to the slime they found at Oldcaster. So they thought, this is kind of suspicious. So they decide, after looking at that, they decide to go back and go down the other passageway. And as they do, they start to come out to this opening, this circular room, and they see one human male, kind of older gentleman, in some, I want to say he had plate armor at the time. If it wasn't plate, it's chainmail, something similar, and 4 other kobolds. They also notice one of the kobolds looks like to be the quote-unquote leader of the kobold group. So they roll stealth. They are not noticed. So it's a very hatches a plan that she, because of her wings, she's going to try to fly up and gradually kind of go along the top of the ceiling to try to flank them. So Devia and Rowan, they agree that that's probably best. And also Taveri was gonna see if she can kind of listen in as well. So she starts to make her way up there, and at this point, I want to say Taveri knocked some rocks or something happened where she broke stealth up on the ceiling to make it to where one of the kobolds with their dark vision looked up and actually noticed Taveri. So at this point, just a battle ensues as she starts coming down with her quarterstaff onto one of the kobolds. Rowan and Devia, they start heading in with shooting off their bows, and the human male, who they surmise is Mullahay, he starts charging up a magical beam of energy, and as he shoots it off, he actually casts Guiding Bolt, and he casts it at Rowan. At this point, she takes some damage. At this point, Devia is also casting Cure Wounds on Rowan, trying to support her. Taveri's kind of in the middle of Mullahay and the kobolds, and she's kind of doing all these crazy moves with her quarterstaff. And so this battle ensues. And the party eventually, I know I'm kind of flying through this, but the party takes out all the kobolds and Mullahay. They did get a little bit beat up, though, during this battle, that Devia had to cast a couple more Cure Wounds on the party to get them back up to strength. So, so they start going through their bodies, and on Mullahay's body in particular, they find a letter. And forgive me, I don't have, this is the only letter I don't have. I can't seem to find it, but to kind of summarize it from what I remember, it is a letter from, it was signed it was from Tazok, And Tazok was basically telling Mullahay that he's going to send this next shipment of this black slime to him, but he can't send any more kobolds to his position. And at this point in the letter, from what I remember, that Tazok was basically saying, don't mess this up. We need this place shut down for good for a while right now. So the party takes this information. They, like I kind of said in the last video, they really want to track down Tazok now. And so they put two and two together, obviously, that the slime that they found at Oldcaster is the same slime that the bandits have been getting, and like what's in the crates, so that's how they've been poisoning the mine. They haven't figured out for what purpose, why they're doing all this. So they, with all that, they decide to head back up to the upper portion of the mine. And as they head back up to the upper portion, they get to the same spot Zeke was at. They round the corner, and Zeke's gone. The wrappings are there. Looks like he broke free, and Zeke's gone. So they start rushing out. They are like, oh no. They start rushing out of the mine back up to the surface. And they get to the top, and they notice his tracks start heading north. So they really don't want to lose Zeke. They want to track him down. So they have a plan to where Rowan and Devia decide they're gonna keep following Zeke towards to the north, and Taveri is gonna go back to town, tell them what happened, and then link back up with them. And they also agree that at a certain point they'll meet back up. Depending on how far these tracks go, they'll meet back up where Parsley the Spider's house is. So the party splits, and I'll go with Taveri right now. Taveri, she starts heading back towards the town. She gets back into town. Same scenario, the soldiers are still camped out on the edge of town. Some of them are kind of patrolling the streets of Nashkel, and Taveri actually goes up to one of them, explains that, hey, we just cleared out this mine, but there was some kobolds in them. We found this one human male. He seemed to be the head of them. She just goes into all this detail, what they all found. So with this information, he kind of points to two soldiers behind him, and the three of them start heading towards the mine. He thanks Taveri for the information. He tells his superiors back at camp that they're gonna go check this out, and they're gonna they'll be back. So Taveri at that point starts to head towards Parsley the Spider's house. That's where they're gonna meet up. Devia and Rowan, they head north, and the tracks do pass pretty close by the house, but they just keep going. So it starts to get late in the evening, and the party link back up there. So they decide, you know what, we're gonna camp at Parsley's house. So they camp for the night. And as they're camping for the night, I want to say, yeah, before they head to bed, they get something to eat. And as they're just kind of camping there, off to the for that night, off to the west, they see, after doing some perception rolls, they see what looks like a lot of torchlights coming kind of from the southwest, and it looks like all those torchlights are starting to move northward. So the party, they make a note of that, wondering, okay, that's strange. They do kind of surmise, figure out, or they think that it's probably, that's the the soldier camp. So the next morning they head out after getting some rest. They start heading out and keep following Zeke's tracks. So they head north, and the tracks just keep going north. They at one point, one of the players, I don't remember who, one of the players just kind of set out of character, just like, man, these tracks just keep going. Like, they weren't expecting Zeke to travel this far, because at this point they're up near Ulcaster again. So the tracks just pass up Ulcaster at Caster as well. I'm sorry. And so they keep heading north, and they actually start to get into what is uh, the forested area called the Woods of Sharp Teeth. It's a forested area just kind of off to the east northeast of Baragost. So they start headed into that forest, and eventually the tracks come out. They come out to this sort of a clearing in the forest, and they stumble upon actually Tazok's camp. And as they sneak, they successfully are not seen. But as they are there, they notice that there's several bandits around. But besides bandits, these bandits actually look different. They have like special cloaks, special helmets, and along with those bandits are actually some hobgoblins. And it's kind of broken up between like part of the camp is bandits and part of the camp are hobgoblins. And then up on this raised small hill of sorts, they notice Zeke is standing there by this campfire. And it looks like he's reporting in to this tall half-ogre man that's who they decide or think that's it's Tazok. So they notice that, and they also notice that the hobgoblin leader, the bandit leader, is also on this hill. And they also find the Knoll chieftain that they heard about from those writings back at the Knoll stronghold. He's also right up there. So this whole group is just gathered at this camp. And at this point, they didn't want to get much closer because they couldn't hear anything at the time, what they were saying. Kind of just going off of their gestures, it just looks like Zeke was, quote-unquote, reporting into Tazok and the rest of the group. So after several minutes of talking about this and debating, they decide, okay, we're probably not ready for this fight. We need to go back. We're close to Baragost. We need to go back, gear up, rest up, and come back to this another day. We at least have, as long as they don't move, we at least have found Tazok's camp. So they start to head back. And as they start to head back, they notice some black smoke starts filling the sky off back to the southwest. And one thing of note I pointed out to the party was that today of all days, it was a pretty windy day. So as they're getting closer, they notice that black smoke is coming from Baragost. And it is everywhere.